Hey there traders, welcome to another market update video. Today is the 22nd of April 2021 and we're going to start off here with the daily chart on Bitcoin. So I do want to mention this, we did close our first daily candle below the 55 exponential. This is usually quite a significant signal for some further downside potential. And I'll just go throughout the history of Bitcoin and I'll actually show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll only keep on the 55 exponential and show the significance of this actual moving average. You can see right here, Bitcoin held support with the January lows after this capitulation to the downside. If we scroll even further back, you can see that whenever we go below the 55 exponential, we usually do see quite a bit of a capitulation. And then a low being put in right there. The last time we did see Bitcoin break below the 55 was right over here. Not too much of a pullback, but still went sideways for a couple of weeks before we saw another extension. But here's where I wanna focus on. So this was just before the coronavirus black swan event, when we dumped all the way back down from around about $9,000 all the way down to as low as $3,600. The other time, okay, let's get onto a chart with some more price action history here. Here we go. Okay. So whenever we see a break below the 55, you can see that's usually when we see the major extensions to the downside. For example, right here, break below the 55, we see a major extension. Right over here, we see a break below the 55. We had a little bit of a bull run here, but further down the line, we did see that major extension to the downside back in 2019. Right over here, this was the bear market, so obviously that's not too much to talk about right there. Over here, this is bull cycles. You can see closing below the 55 exponential, we do see capitulation. Below the 55, we see capitulation. Below the 55, we see that capitulation. So I do think Bitcoin is about to still make a little bit of a low. I don't think the low is in just yet. Right here, we can see another capitulation. So throughout the history of Bitcoin, the 55 holding the trend is usually a very powerful signal, but losing the 55 while in an uptrend could point towards some lower targets. So we're going to speak about those lower targets this morning, and we're also going to speak about this being a fake out and Bitcoin just popping back up and continuing to the upside. So with that said, let's jump into it. Currently, we're still not below our previous swing low on the daily chart. Yes, we did go below this swing low right here, which did signal a short-term move to the downside. I'm pretty sure we already saw that short-term move, but we're still holding above our previous level of structure right over here. Let's just quickly go back to our watch list. There we go. There we go. So closing below our previous level right here, but we still have this level of structure. This was our previous little accumulation zone just before this breakout to make a new all-time high, and then came back down and tested that exact same level before we made the next all-time high. So I do think that we'll have a bunch of stacked orders around this level waiting to be triggered, as we can see with this quick wick to the downside and the immediate buyback to the upside. So for Bitcoin here, I would expect another move back down to $50,630. This is a level that we've been speaking about for quite some time. We can see that the market has respected this level quite significantly. This was that accumulation zone that you can see right here. And the market does respect this level quite significantly as resistance as well as support. Again, resistance, 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 support, support, and support. So definitely a significant level to keep an eye on for the day, well, for the next couple of days. But like I said, we do not want to trade inside of this range. This range is going to be taking out retail traders left, right, and center. And the market really doesn't have any kind of direction to it at the moment. We do have the possibility of a bear cross between the 55 exponential and the 200 exponential. I just want to talk about those on the 4-hour chart because they are quite significant as well. So I'm talking about the green line crossing to the downside of that red line. Now I do want to go throughout the history here and show you whenever we do see the cross to the upside, that's usually our major bullish extensions to the upside. So you can see right here, we had the cross, we had a little bit of accumulation right here, and then we had this massive rally, and those two lines stayed, the green line, the 55 exponential, stayed above the 200 exponential for that entire duration, this entire bull cycle. So let's go and see whenever they cross to the downside what the historical data does tell us. So for example, right here, we had a cross to the downside. The market was already at a low at that point. So this was not a signal that I would have actually traded or taken too seriously. But you can see the market did bounce up and ultimately did make its way even lower over time. Yeah, we had the cross to the upside again and a major extension to the upside. Yeah, we had the cross to the downside again, and you can see we actually just went into a consolidation phase here. Nothing really too hectic about that. Then we had the cross to the downside over here just before our capitulation in March last year with the coronavirus. So these are quite significant signals. Whenever you see the cross to the upside, we usually see quite a bullish posture in the market. Whenever we see the cross to the downside, however, we do see that bearishness start to set into the market. So this was actually also below the 55, excuse me, the 200, and you can see it right there. So is it a signal of doom in and of itself? I don't think so, but it does imply some more downside potential here for this particular asset. And I do want to talk about that because being too bullish on an asset that is currently consolidating at its lows, you know, we've got momentum oscillators resetting to the neutral zones. We've got RSI popping back up to the neutral zone around the 50 level right over here. You can see it. So that's not a very good signal. We can see the stochastics being rejected from that neutral zone as well, pushing straight back into the bearish control zone. We got above the bearish control zone, rejected it, had a little bit of a bounce, but right now pushing straight back into that. And we did talk about the fact that we do have hidden bearish divergence, excuse me, right over here. We did speak about that yesterday. We have these series of lower highs, while on the RSI we have a series of higher highs, and that's usually known as hidden bearish divergence, and these do play out to the downside. We don't see any reason to be bullish just yet, no bullish divergence, no reason to start buying just yet, unless we start taking out the previous swing high on the 4-hour chart around $56,250. We can take out that swing high. I would look for an extension at the very least back up to around 57,500. And if we can close above this previous swing high, that's when I'm going to be targeting moves back up to around $60,000, maybe even beyond that, going into new all-time highs. So for Ethereum, excuse me, for Bitcoin right now, I'm still kind of neutral here, leaning to the downside. And if this was to be the case of a descending triangle, we could see a measured move play out from this one. So I do want to point that out as well. And that measured move would point towards, well, what do you know? Our previous little accumulation zone that we were speaking about, around about 50,000, maybe even lower than 50,000. Let's see if we can identify any more levels of structure here. Yes, we can. So we have a little bit of beautiful liquidity zone right here. We can see how the market acted as resistance, resistance, support, resistance, 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 support. So support overall here. So I would be targeting this little green box right here. And this liquidity zone should hold support for Bitcoin. That is my targets to the downside from this descending triangle or a possible descending triangle. I do want to say that I don't like the volume on this red candle right here. So that kind of does imply that a descending triangle here would not entirely work in our favor because we've already seen a spike in volume. So clearly something is happening right here at this zone. Is it something to be afraid of or worried about? I don't think so. I think overall this market is just neutral. So if it breaks below this level and we get a 4-hour candle close below 53, let's call it 290, that's when I'll be looking for that extension back down here. But this extension down here is going to be a level that I'm going to be buying. This is really a level that I'm definitely interested in buying. Okay. But if Bitcoin to the same token takes out the previous swing high on the 4-hour candle, which is 56,250, that's when I'll be looking for that extension back up to around 57,500 and 60,000, like I said. So these are two liquidity zones that I am keeping an eye on and am aware of. But let's see what the market wants to do here. We are still patient. We haven't taken any positions this entire week because the market has been moving sideways. We do see some potential on some altcoins, which I'll speak about in just a sec. But I'm very curious to see what this formation is going to bring to the table. And I am very cautious in trading any altcoins if the mother coin, Bitcoin, isn't really moving and there's not enough volume for it to really start moving. Let's look at momentum oscillators again, just one more time. RSI giving us those hidden bearish divergence signals. We're not getting bullish divergence signals here whatsoever. Perhaps we are seeing a little bit of bullish divergence here, but it's not too much to make me excited. And if that bullish divergence did play out, we would then pretty much come and test the 21 exponential coming in around about 55,644. If we can get above that, like I said, we'll probably break this previous swing high and we'll see that extension to the upside. So still being cautious, still being patient, not taking any positions just yet. And you'll understand once the market moves why we haven't taken positions yet, because we are currently in a phase right now where big moves are going to start happening. And we want to catch the bigger moves. We don't want to focus on the short-term stuff here, not at the moment. Once the market really starts moving with plenty of volume, we can start targeting these short-term trades and start taking these short-term trades again. But for now, just be patient, wait for the market to show us a clear picture, clear direction, and then we capitalize on that. So still waiting for that move back down to around $50,500, or let's call it $49,500, somewhere in this zone. And then ultimately we could even see Bitcoin come back down to $45,000, which is the 21 exponential moving average on the weekly chart, coming in at this previous swing low on the weekly chart, around $45,000. I do want to say this as well. As long as Bitcoin does close weekly candles above this previous swing low, I am longer term bullish on this one. This weekly chart did have a spike in volume, so that's usually an okay signal to see that we see a backfill on that and then continuation. But I think we're kind of setting up for a decent pullback here, maybe some sideways action for a few more weeks, and then we can see new all-time highs coming in, probably going to be quite significant. Let's just give this an idea here. Excuse me. Let's just look from this previous swing low to that swing high. I mean, we could easily look at targets of above $85,000, maybe even as high as $100,000 when we start extending to the upside again. So plenty of opportunity in the market. We just need to be patient and wait for them to start playing out. On the 3-day chart, we did close a brand new 3-day last night. Did we close it with any kind of significance? Not really. We definitely closed below the 10 simple moving average, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. We didn't quite get to close below the 21 exponential, did we? No, we did not. So still holding the 21 exponential on the 3-day chart. On the 2-day, let's see what this one looks like below the 21. So yeah, this one does kind of point towards the 55 exponential, like I said. On the 2-day chart, closing below the 21, holding below the 21. Let's just keep an eye on that. We usually see that push down to the 55 exponential, push down to the 55 exponential. Right over here, push down to the 55 exponential. So that's going to be our next obvious zone, and that does line up with our levels of structure. What do you know? The 55 does kind of start to line up with this $49,000 level that I've been speaking about. Maybe even lower. It could come as low as $45,000 as stated earlier. So I do like this one. I do like how everything is starting to line up. The 100 exponential coming in at this order block right here, this liquid zone, excuse me. So again, this is where I would like to buy. And I would also like to buy if we take out this liquidity zone to the top. That would mean that we are closing daily candles above the 21 exponential again. And that would make me medium term bullish again. You can see right here, after pullbacks, and we do close above the 21 exponential, we usually see those extensions again. Pullback, close above the 21 exponential, that's that extension. You see a pullback, close above the 21 exponential again, that's the extension. So we won't see a major extension before we see a daily candle close above the 21 exponential. That's when we're going to see those major extensions to the upside again. So people are being emotional and trading with emotional biases in the market right now, as far as I can see. And it looks like, you know, it's probably not the best idea to be trading with your emotions whatsoever. It usually never is. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these charts. Don't be hasty here. Just be patient. The market will give us a proper entry and a decent trade very, very soon. But if you rush into the market trying to make something happen that's not quite there just yet, that's when you burn your fingers. So that's it for Bitcoin. Let's move on. Ethereum. Okay, so Ethereum did have an extension to the upside here. We are currently meeting our all-time high around 2000. What's the highest we went here? Right here was $2,497. I do like the volume on this one though. It does look like Ethereum wants to take a breakout here, but we do have this potential rising wedge. I don't like trading patterns, but the volume signature does agree with us, as well as momentum oscillators agreeing with us here. So far so good. This one could easily pull back down. Momentum oscillators also getting all the way up there. You can see that stochastics in the critical zone right now. So I'm definitely remaining cautious around this one unless we do break this all-time high with some decent volume, come back down and retest. That's going to be our buy signal right there. Uh, Otherwise than that, any kind of pullback towards $2,343 or even $2,267, I'd be looking as an opportunity, and we can easily see this one continue to the upside from there. So this is my liquidity zone that I'm keeping an eye on for possible long opportunities. We did see the market break up out of this one yesterday with some decent volume coming back down to retest that level, but with this retest, we did not see the follow through that I would expect for us to go and make a brand new all-time high. It's looking pretty good right now, but like I said, I'd remain cautious on this one. Wait for a pullback, see if we can get back down here somewhere or back down inside of this liquid zone right here. We do have this liquidity zone, like I said already. This was our previous all-time high. If we remain below this liquidity zone, I'm still not very keen on trading this particular asset just yet. So again, patience is the name of the game here. Let's talk about Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash also kind of neutral here, still moving sideways. So I've got a few more coins here this morning because there's plenty of opportunity starting to show itself. So like I said, the trades are coming. Just be patient. We don't want to trade inside of these ranges. Look at this thing. You try and buy and sell in here, you're going to get wrecked. The market is going to hurt you. Okay, so if we do see a break below this previous level of structure, which comes in around $865, any kind of 4-hour candle close below this previous level of structure, this liquidity zone right here, would imply a further extension to the downside, and we technically would have a measured move from this pennant. Let's just take the conservative measured move here. pointing towards, well, the 200 exponential moving average, which was our previous level of structure right over here. Our previous resistance could be coming future support. So again, Bitcoin Cash looking like it's going to give us an opportunity very, very soon. Volume still going down. I do like that. So obviously there's some accumulation happening here inside of that area. But which way does the market push? Any kind of break above this liquidity zone, it's going to make me bullish, want to buy this one. Any kind of break below this liquid zone, going to make me bearish, want to sell. Okay, Chainlink, very similar to Bitcoin Cash, kind of just still neutral here, going sideways, volume going down. So obviously this is accumulation, and we're waiting to see what kind of accumulation. We're still setting in a series of lower highs and higher lows, but we just printed a lower low than our previous low, and we did so on some volume. So possibly going to pop back down. This one looks very similar to Bitcoin in my opinion. So any kind of close below $34.82 is going to make me think that we're going to see that extension back down to the 200 simple moving average around $32.25. So let's keep an eye on that. If it does make its way even lower than that, I think this previous accumulation zone coming in around $28.60 is probably going to be the next bounce point for this market. We have a lovely little liquid zone coming in there, and we can see that we have had previous support and resistance around that level throughout the history of Chainlink. So volume going down, a potential pennant after an impulsive leg to the upside. Momentum oscillators still kind of just neutral, man. There's no signals here whatsoever just yet. It is pointing south, so clearly the momentum is still pointing to the downside here, but how far do we go? Again, trying to buy in here and think we're going to hit the targets that we want to hit is going to be ridiculous. We need to wait for that break, wait for the direction, wait for the volume, and then we can make some trade decisions based on that. Uniswap looking pretty powerful, testing its all-time high right here. We did see that break above what is this, $32.56, coming back down to test as support. Decent volume behind this one. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this one. If we can break above our previous all-time high, I think it's time to buy. But momentum oscillators, again, getting all the way up there. And I don't like that necessarily as much when I'm trying to take some long positions. So I'll be waiting for this one to pull back. If we do close this 4-hour candle in the next 2 minutes, well, that's going to happen. Above $37.20, I do think we'll probably take out the all-time high right here. If we do take out the all-time high, we'll have a buy opportunity, wait for a pullback, and see if we can get filled on a long position. Monero here looking a little bit more anemic. We did make a new high here on bearish divergence. We do see the markets coming back down. There's probably just some profit taking. But for me, myself, and I would like to buy Monero around $360 if the market makes it back down there. Preferably, if we can, I would actually like to buy around 346. We have this lovely little liquid zone coming in here, and I do think that would be probably one of the best buys for Monero shorter term. However, if it does take out the 55 exponential to the downside with some decent volume, that's when I'm going to be looking for an extension back down to around $308, maybe even as low as $292 per Monero. All right, so Neo had a fantastic run. Again, I think most of these coins are going to have a fantastic run, but it's going to be short-lived. It's almost like Neo was leading the market as well as Monero. These two broke out before the rest of the market, but you can see how they're being sold back into running out of volume as well. So for Neo right here, I'm going to say I'm a little bit cautious again. We do see some volume on the seller side coming through here just before we saw this low being put in. Do we have any kind of hidden bullish divergence? Actually, we do. So we could see that bounce here. But if we do not close above 105 spot 85, I will not be looking to take any long positions here. I would ultimately just look for this thing to roll back down. I would like to take a shot at a long position around $87.53. I do think it will hold this level, but let's be patient and see if it rolls back down there throughout the day. Litecoin also just moving sideways, nothing really to write home about just yet. We just did close above the 55 exponential, but again, you know, this is posturing a lot more bearish than bullish at the moment. Volume agreeing with me. Momentum oscillators looking good on Litecoin here. Perhaps we do see that move to the upside, but I would wait for a break above 276 and then see if we can take some long positions and target around 296. So definitely keeping an eye on Litecoin. I do think this one is actually pretty close to making a breakout. That does make me think that cryptos are going to want to move very, very soon. Well, sooner rather than later. We can see also here for BNB testing that previous resistance as support. Currently, we do have some volume on this gravestone doji right here. So if we take out the spike high of this gravestone doji, I would expect to move back up to around $600. But for me, really, a close above this level is what I want to trade, or a close below this level is what I want to trade. I wouldn't want to trade this previous resistance support, mainly because of the fact that we did get rejected from our all-time high, and that's usually not a good signal. Usually when we get rejected from an all-time high a second time, we do see a much deeper extension, or a retrace, excuse me, a much deeper retracement, at the very least back down to the 21 exponential. So right there. So 482 is going to be that level that I'm speaking about. Also lines up with the 100 exponential on the 4-hour chart and this previous little swing low on BNB. We do see that we have some market structure coming in around about 427, but I'm not going to be paying attention to that too much unless we do break this level around 485. All right, that's pretty much it for the cryptos today. The dollar did bounce yesterday, like we said, got sold straight back into. So that's pretty much a bullish thing for most assets trading against the dollar, like the Nasdaq, the Dow Jones, Bitcoin, Ethereum, cryptos, stuff like that. But as long as it holds this support, I think we're going to see a lot more consolidation in the market overall. So you know, are we going to have some boring days ahead of us? It seems that way, unless we can start seeing some serious momentum here, a shift in momentum and some serious volume coming through to back those momentum shifts. Ethereum, just real quick, again, at these previous levels of structure, rejecting the all-time high. Like I said, rejecting the all-time high, pulling back down is usually not a sign of strength. Usually we just push through those levels. So consolidation around the all-time highs is not a bad thing either, but I do think we'll see a buy opportunity on this one, maybe a pullback down to around about 2,262. All right, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Just for now, bye-bye.